Have you ever felt like you were waiting on something bigger than what you see right now? Like deep inside there's a promise whispered by God, telling you that your breakthrough is just around the corner. Today, I want to remind you that you are not just anyone, you are chosen. You are on the brink of a divine victory, a season where everything God has promised you is about to come to life. Imagine the chains that have held you back breaking, the doors that seemed closed swinging wide open, and blessings flooding into your life in ways you never thought possible. This is your moment. God is ready to release your reward now. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will ignite your faith, strengthen your spirit, and prepare your heart to receive the fullness of all He has prepared for you. You're about to win everything, and it's time to step into that truth with confidence and expectation. Being chosen by God is not a small matter. It is not something ordinary or vague. It is a divine declaration that sets a person apart from the crowd, not to elevate their ego, but to fulfill a sacred purpose. To be chosen is to be marked by heaven for something more than a common life. It is to be handpicked by the Creator of the universe for a path that carries both weight and wonder. From the beginning of time, God has called people not because they were the strongest, the smartest, or the most qualified, but because His sovereign will had a place for them in His plan. When God calls someone chosen, it means they have been set apart for glory, not human glory that fades with applause, but divine glory that reflects His character, His power, and His goodness. Abraham was chosen when he was still a man without a nation. David was chosen when he was just a shepherd, overlooked even by his own father. Esther was chosen, though she was an orphan hidden behind palace walls. None of these people knew what was coming, but the mark of God was upon them. They were set apart, though their lives at first seemed ordinary. Being chosen often comes without fanfare, but it always carries eternal significance. To be chosen by God also means to be prepared. The glory God intends to reveal in and through His chosen ones cannot be carried by untested hands. So He begins the work of shaping, molding, and refining. The chosen are not always immediately celebrated. Many times they are misunderstood, rejected, or even cast aside. But in the silence and the shadows, God is still working. His eyes never turn away from the ones He has called. While others may forget your name, heaven never does. The fires you walk through, the battles you face, the tears you cry in secret, none of it is wasted. Every part of your journey is known by the one who called you. Being chosen does not exempt you from suffering. It actually means your trials may be deeper. But those trials are not signs of abandonment. They are part of the preparation. A crown is not placed on a child's head without the strength to carry its weight. And God, in His wisdom, allows certain valleys so that when the day of glory comes, the chosen one does not collapse under the responsibility of the reward. What you are going through is not random. It is connected to the fact that you have been marked for something greater. The pressure you feel is not to crush you, it is to form you into someone who can reflect God's greatness. The truth is, being chosen means living with a different rhythm, a higher standard, and a deeper purpose. You do not walk like everyone else because you are not called like everyone else. Your path may seem slower, but it is secure. It may feel hidden, but it is holy. The world may rush toward quick results, but God takes His time with those He has chosen. Why? Because what He is building in them must endure. You have not been overlooked. You have not been denied. You have been preserved, positioned, and prepared. You are not late, you are right on schedule in the timing of the one who sees the end from the beginning. When God calls someone chosen, He doesn't change His mind. He doesn't withdraw His call just because the process is painful or the wait is long. If God said it, He meant it. If He picked you, He will keep you, and when the time is right, the glory He placed in you will shine. Waiting is one of the most difficult seasons to endure, especially for those who have been chosen by God. It can feel like time itself has stopped, like every prayer is met with silence, and every hope is stretched thin. Yet waiting is not a pause without purpose. It is a sacred part of God's design, a period carefully woven into the fabric of your journey to prepare you for what lies ahead. The moments when you feel forgotten, when the answers seem delayed, are not empty or meaningless. They are rich with unseen growth, invisible to the eyes but powerful in the spirit. During seasons of waiting, the world may tell you that nothing is happening, that your efforts are wasted, or that your dreams are fading. But God's perspective is vastly different. What looks like silence to you is often a time of profound activity in the spiritual realm. In these times, God is quietly working behind the scenes, strengthening your faith, deepening your trust, and shaping your character. This waiting is not a punishment or a sign of failure. It is a sacred workshop where God fashions you into the person capable of carrying the reward He has promised. The testing of your patience is also a testing of your faith. Faith that holds firm when the night is longest is a faith that God will honor. It is easy to believe when everything is going your way, but the chosen one is known by how they stand when the path is uncertain. This is the time when doubts will arise and discouragement will knock at your door. But if you hold fast, if you remain steadfast in prayer and trust, you demonstrate that your hope is not in circumstances but in the faithfulness of God Himself. Waiting also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not in control. It forces you to surrender your timing, your plans, and your understanding to God's perfect will. In this surrender, you learn to depend not on your own strength but on His power. This is the soil in which true dependence grows, a dependence that makes your victory sweeter and your testimony stronger. The longer the wait, the more profound the transformation, and the more authentic the praise when the reward finally comes. Furthermore, waiting prepares you to appreciate your reward fully. If the blessing came too soon, you might take it for granted, or you might not be ready to steward it well. The delay allows God to prepare not only your heart but your circumstances, so that the reward will not only bless you but also glorify Him and impact others. When the time is right, what you receive will be greater than you imagine because it comes from the hand of a God who has measured it perfectly. Many biblical heroes experienced long waits before their breakthrough. Joseph spent years in prison before he was raised to power. Moses spent decades in the desert before leading a nation. David waited patiently before becoming king. These examples show us that waiting is a common thread in the lives of those chosen by God. It is in these waiting rooms that their character was refined, their vision clarified, and their faith tested. This same divine pattern applies to you. It is important to remember that God's timing is never off. The seasons of waiting are not accidental detours but intentional parts of your story. They teach you to trust Him more deeply and prepare you for the fullness of what He has in store. Your breakthrough is not distant, it is coming because God has promised it. While you wait, do not lose heart or give up. Instead, use this time to grow closer to God, to pray with greater intensity, and to align your heart with His. The reward you have hoped for is being readied for you. And when it arrives, it will be more glorious than you can now imagine. God is a rewarder. This truth echoes through Scripture and resounds deeply within the hearts of those who faithfully seek Him. To be rewarded by God is not merely about receiving blessings, it is about the affirmation that He notices, values, and honors the faithfulness of His children. The God who sees every tear, hears every cry, and knows every struggle is the same God who will act on behalf of those who persevere with unwavering faith. He does not overlook the small acts of obedience or the quiet moments of trust that go unnoticed by the world. Every step taken in faith, no matter how small, is recorded in heaven, and God's reward is a reflection of His deep love and recognition. The Bible clearly teaches that God rewards those who diligently seek Him. This seeking is not a casual glance or a half-hearted attempt. It is a passionate pursuit, a hunger of the soul for the presence and will of God. When you seek God with all your heart, you enter into a divine relationship that goes beyond religion or ritual. You become a vessel through which God's power flows, and your faithfulness draws His favor. This reward is both spiritual and tangible. It strengthens your spirit, fills your life with peace, and often manifests in blessings that meet your needs in surprising and abundant ways. Faithfulness is the currency that unlocks God's rewards. It is easy to be faithful when circumstances are good, But true faithfulness shines brightest in hardship and delay. The one who continues to pray, serve, and believe when it feels like nothing is changing demonstrates a character that God honors. This faithfulness is a testimony to the world and a beacon to other believers who struggle with discouragement. God's reward for faithfulness is not only personal blessing but also a public demonstration of His power and goodness. It validates the struggle and encourages others to hold on in their own battles. God's rewards are often timed perfectly. Sometimes it may feel like He is slow to answer or reluctant to bless, but His timing is never late. He sees the bigger picture and knows exactly when to release what you need. The reward is not given because you earned it by your own strength, but because God chooses to honor your faithfulness and to show His glory through your life. This means that your reward is also a testimony to His greatness. When God moves, the world takes notice, and hearts are drawn to the source of your breakthrough. The nature of God's reward also reveals His heart. He is a Father who delights in giving good gifts to His children. His rewards are filled with grace, mercy, and kindness. They restore what was lost, multiply what was small, and heal what was broken. God's reward is never stingy or partial. It is abundant and overflowing. It reflects His desire to bless His people beyond what they can imagine or ask. When you receive from God, you receive from a heart that loves you deeply and wants to see you thrive in every area of life. Understanding that God is a rewarder changes the way you approach your faith journey. It invites you to persevere, knowing that your efforts are not in vain. It encourages you to keep seeking, keep trusting, and keep serving with joy and expectation. God's reward is not a distant dream but a present reality being worked out in your life. The knowledge that God honors faithfulness fuels hope and strengthens resolve. It assures you that your labor, your prayers, and your steadfast heart will one day be met with a reward that is both deserved and divinely orchestrated. There comes a moment in every believer's journey when the atmosphere shifts, a time when the heavens seem to move, and what has been withheld begins to flow. This season of release is a divine intervention, a turning point ordained by God Himself. It is the moment when the prayers, the sacrifices, and the faith that have been sown in tears start to bear fruit. The spiritual realm aligns with the natural, and the promises spoken over your life begin to manifest in tangible ways. This is not happenstance or luck. It is a sovereign act of God releasing what He has long prepared for you. God's timing is perfect, and He knows exactly when to open the floodgates of blessing. There is a divine season when the heavens release favor, provision, healing, and breakthrough. For those who have remained faithful in the waiting, this release feels like the answer to a long-awaited prayer, a breath of fresh air after a season of drought. It is important to understand that this release is not random. It is the fulfillment of God's promises. Every hardship endured, every prayer uttered in faith, and every step of obedience has positioned you for this very moment. The concept of release is deeply spiritual. It often begins in the unseen before it becomes visible in the natural. God moves in the realm of the Spirit first, breaking chains, opening doors, and removing obstacles that once held you back. This unseen shift is a powerful reminder that your breakthrough is already underway, even if your circumstances have not yet caught up. God is working in the background, aligning situations, people, and resources to bring about what He has declared. This encourages believers to hold on with steadfast faith, knowing that the invisible work of God will soon be seen. The release of God's reward also carries with it a sense of divine justice. It is the unmerited favor of God coming to balance what was once delayed or denied. This release brings restoration, restoring lost time, healing broken relationships, and renewing hope where despair once lived. It is God's way of saying that He remembers, that He cares, and that He will make all things new. The release is not just about receiving, it is about restoration and transformation, restoring what the enemy tried to steal and transforming your life into a living testimony of God's faithfulness. This season is also marked by empowerment. When God releases His reward, He doesn't just give you blessings, He equips you to steward them well. This release often comes with a fresh anointing, wisdom, and grace to manage the new season. It prepares you to walk in authority, to lead, and to impact others. The rewards God releases are tools for advancing His kingdom on earth. They are not meant to be hoarded but shared, multiplied, and used to bring glory to God. This divine empowerment is a sign that your victory is not only personal but also communal, affecting lives beyond your own. For many believers, recognizing the season of release is crucial. It changes the posture of your heart from one of waiting and hoping to one of expectation and celebration. It shifts your mindset to see possibilities rather than problems, opportunities rather than obstacles. This change in perspective fuels faith and inspires action. It prompts you to step forward boldly, to declare victory, and to claim the promises of God with confidence. The release invites you to move from a place of preparation to a place of manifestation, from longing to possession. In the midst of this season, it is vital to remain humble and grateful. God's release is a gift, not a right, and it is by His grace alone that it comes. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned with God's purposes and opens the door for even greater blessings. It reminds you that every good thing flows from Him, and that your role is to steward what He entrusts to you faithfully. The release is a cause for praise, a celebration of God's faithfulness through every trial, and a testimony that encourages others to trust in His timing and provision. The release of God's reward is a divine declaration that your season of waiting is over and that your breakthrough has arrived. It is the moment when faith meets fulfillment, and God's promises become your reality. It is a powerful reminder that God is always at work, even when we cannot see it, and that His timing is perfect in bringing about victory, restoration, and blessing in your life. Winning everything in God's economy means far more than just acquiring material wealth or earthly success. While many may think of victory as gaining riches, fame, or power, God's understanding of winning encompasses something far deeper and richer. It includes peace that surpasses all understanding, a sense of purpose rooted in divine calling, restoration of brokenness, and spiritual authority to walk boldly in the path He has prepared. To win everything means to experience the fullness of God's blessings in every area of life, heart, mind, soul, and spirit, not just the external. God's reward often begins with peace, the kind of peace that no circumstance can shake. This peace guards your heart and mind through trials and tribulations. It is a victory over anxiety, fear, and doubt. When you truly win with God, you win internally first. Your soul finds rest in Him, and you learn to trust His plans even when the path is unclear. This inner peace is the foundation of all other victories. Without it, material blessings can feel empty and hollow. But with it, you can face any storm with confidence because your victory is anchored in God's presence. Purpose is another vital part of what it means to win everything. God's chosen ones are not called simply to receive blessings for themselves, but to fulfill a higher mission. Winning in God's eyes is to discover and walk in the unique purpose He has designed for your life. This purpose gives meaning to your struggles and direction to your successes. It is the reason why your victory is not just about you, but about impacting others and advancing God's kingdom. When you live with this divine purpose, your success becomes a testimony that glorifies God and draws others closer to Him. Restoration is a powerful element of God's idea of winning. Many chosen ones carry scars, wounds from past failures, broken relationships, or lost opportunities. Winning everything includes the healing and renewal that God brings to these broken places. It means God does not just give you new things but restores what was lost or damaged. Restoration brings wholeness and hope, transforming pain into praise. It reminds you that God's rewards are not just gifts but acts of redemption, proof that He is a God who makes all things new. Spiritual authority is also part of the victory God grants His chosen ones. When you win everything, you gain not only blessings but also the power and responsibility to influence your world for good. This authority is given to lead, to protect, and to serve. It enables you to overcome spiritual battles and to be a light in the darkness. With this authority, your victory becomes a force for change, impacting families, communities, and nations. Winning with God is about becoming a channel through which His power flows to bless others. This broader understanding of victory challenges worldly ideas about success. The world often measures winning by what you have, but God measures winning by who you are becoming. Character, integrity, humility, and faithfulness are the true markers of victory. These qualities ensure that your blessings do not lead to pride or destruction, but to lasting fruitfulness. Winning everything in God's eyes means your life reflects His glory, not just your achievements. Finally, winning everything means living with hope and confidence in God's promises. It means trusting that no matter what challenges you face, God's plan is greater and His reward is sure. It calls you to keep moving forward with faith, knowing that your ultimate victory is secured by God's grace. Winning is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey of growing, serving, and trusting God more deeply every day. It is the experience of walking in the fullness of His love and power, receiving all that He has prepared for you. Victory is not only about what God gives, it is also about what He entrusts to you after the reward has been released. Receiving God's blessings is just the beginning. What follows is the sacred responsibility of stewardship. God entrusts His chosen ones with gifts, opportunities, and favor, so that they may use them wisely and faithfully for His glory and the good of others. This stewardship is a divine partnership, where the blessings you receive become tools to advance God's kingdom on earth and to impact lives around you. When God releases your reward, it is not meant to be hoarded or kept selfishly. True victory is demonstrated by how you manage and multiply what has been given. This calls for wisdom, humility, and a heart surrendered to God's purposes. Stewardship is more than managing resources. It is about managing your time, your influence, your relationships, and your spiritual gifts with diligence and care. It requires discernment to know when to give, when to hold, and how to use every blessing to serve others and glorify God. God's trust in His chosen ones to steward His blessings shows His confidence in their character. This trust is not given lightly, but is earned through faithfulness in small things. The Bible teaches that those who are faithful with little will be made rulers over much. This principle reminds us that stewardship begins in the everyday choices we make, being faithful in our work, generous in our giving, and humble in our attitudes. The way you handle what God has already given you prepares you for greater responsibilities and greater rewards in the future. Stewardship also protects you from the dangers that come with blessings. Without careful management and a heart aligned with God, blessings can become a source of pride, selfishness, or distraction. But when you understand that everything you have is from God and for God, you keep a proper perspective. This perspective guards against greed and entitlement and fosters gratitude and generosity. It helps you remain grounded and dependent on God, even as your blessings increase. Furthermore, stewardship is a form of worship. It is an act of obedience and praise to God when you use what He has entrusted to you to bless others. When you give generously, serve faithfully, and invest wisely, you participate in God's work and extend His love to those around you. Your stewardship becomes a testimony of God's goodness and faithfulness, drawing others to Him and glorifying His name. It turns your victory into a living blessing for your family, community, and beyond. This responsibility also calls for prayerful dependence. Stewardship is not something you do alone, but in partnership with God. It requires daily guidance and wisdom from the Holy Spirit. Prayer helps you discern God's will and equips you to handle your blessings with integrity and purpose. It keeps your heart aligned with God's and helps you remain sensitive to the needs of others. Through prayerful stewardship, you honor God and invite His continual blessing and guidance. Finally, stewardship is a reflection of your identity as God's chosen one. It reveals your commitment to live not for yourself, but for His glory. It shows that you understand your blessings are gifts, not rights, and that you are accountable to God for how you use them. This understanding transforms the way you live, work, and give. It fills your life with purpose and meaning beyond material gain. To steward well is to walk in obedience, humility, and love, a true mark of victory in God's eyes. Embracing this responsibility of stewardship is essential to walking in the fullness of your victory. It moves you beyond simply receiving to actively participating in God's plan. It ensures that your blessings multiply and become a lasting legacy of faith and love. God's reward is not just for you, but for all whom He calls you to serve and bless. Stewardship is the sacred trust that confirms you are truly His chosen one, prepared not only to win but to lead and glorify Him in all things. You have heard today that being chosen by God means stepping into a destiny filled with promise, purpose, and powerful reward. Though the journey may include seasons of waiting, testing, and refining, God's faithfulness never fails. He sees your faithfulness, honors your perseverance, and in His perfect timing, He will release the blessings that have been prepared just for you. Winning everything in God's eyes is far beyond material gain. It is the fullness of peace, restoration, purpose, and spiritual authority. And when God entrusts you with His reward, He calls you to be a faithful steward, using those blessings to glorify Him and serve others. As you leave this place, remember that your breakthrough is near, your reward is being released, and your victory is sure. Stand firm in faith, walk boldly in purpose, and steward well all that God has given you. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are about to win everything because God's promises never fail. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. May God's grace, peace, and abundant blessings go with each of you as you continue your journey toward the fullness of His reward. Keep your eyes fixed on Him, and be ready to receive all that He has prepared for you. God bless you.